Yes, indeed. And no sooner than Steve complimented RTD and they started dropping train trips left and right for the afternoon commute. Here's the deal. 11 light rail operators did not come to work and they don't have people to spare. Listen, it's a snowy day. I bet there were people who didn't come to your work as well. But what that meant at RTD was that they had to cancel nearly 1 in 10 of their train trips for the day. So Stager took the afternoon to see if other cities are having similar transit operator shortages.
If you get RTD rider alerts, your inbox got stuffed this afternoon. The end result of 11 light rail operators calling out is 94 canceled trips out of the 1,000 plus scheduled today. RTD's shortage really stings on a day like today. Ben Freed speaks for the transit research and advocacy group Transit Center.
RTD seems to be feeling this more acutely than other agencies. The first agency that I'm aware of that is considering scaling back service.
But RTD is not alone, he says.
San Francisco, Miami, St. Louis, Omaha, and northern New Jersey are all having similar problems.
What's fascinating about that, Freed says, you can't seem to find one common denominator in any of those cities.
I think it's interesting that this problem is affecting areas that are in vastly different economic circumstances.
San Fran, for instance, is facing a shortage in large part because of the housing crisis there. Bus drivers just can't afford to pay the rent.
San Francisco hopes to claw their way back out with a more generous new contract that they've just reached with their operators.
St. Louis and Omaha aren't facing the same housing situation, but still can't find drivers. Despite the common shortage in these cities, only Denver is suggesting cutting service to try to solve the problem. Freed says it's sad, but smart.
It is better to be honest about what you can do with your budget than to pretend you can run more service than you actually can.
So there's a caveat to that. Freed says if RTD is cutting service to solve this problem, they also need to present a plan that they're going to fix it at the same time that they present that plan to cut service. And Kyle, Freed says cities like Chicago and New York aren't dealing with these same sorts of problems because transit there is so ingrained and those agencies are focused on operating more than innovating and building. They can put more money into the budget that way.
That makes a lot of sense, Steve. I think sometimes when we're looking at RTD's successes and failures, it's so difficult to compare them to somebody else because the ridership rates are so much lower here than they are in a New York or Chicago, and they're in the process of building it out, whereas other cities aren't. It's interesting, though, what your expert was saying about the fact that, maybe if you're building out, you can't sustain.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. And he also mentioned that car-centric cities tend to struggle with this.
Yeah.
That, New York and Chicago, it is so much part of their culture there that they have to fund it and they have to figure out ways.
Nice sweater.
Thank you. Nice sweater, too.
Appreciate that.